I'm very sorry, non sprechen Sie Deutsch, as you can tell. So if you don't mind, I'll speak in English and hope I can manage that language. Yeah, so I'm very happy to have been invited to speak here and to talk to you. Also, especially because the topic about the Bodhisattva practices and the benefits of bodhicitta, that is something that I'm really, really interested in. And so I love talking about it. Yeah, I'll try not to go on too much until tomorrow morning. Um, yeah, but to convey some of the main points in it. So I always like starting a talk with a few minutes of silent meditation so that we can settle down from the day and, empty our mind of all the busyness that we had today. Part of my busyness was I rode on a bus in Berlin. And, I've been to Disneyland, and there's a ride called the Matterhorn, where you go up the mountain and you go. And this bus ride was comparable. But I survived. So it was quite exciting holding on there. Okay, so we'll start just, you can do the breathing meditation or whatever you like just for a few minutes. So we'll spend a moment or two also cultivating our motivation, since our motivation is the most important aspect of any action we do. So when the Buddha taught the Dharma, he did so motivated by great compassion, wanting to free us and all other sentient beings from the torment of our constantly recurring rebirths, samsara. So, as Mahayana practitioners, we want to become Buddhas too. So we should cultivate the same motivation that the Buddha had. And that is what makes us close to the Buddha. So with a mind that has equal-hearted compassion for each and every living being, no matter whether we like them or don't, whether they like us or don't. Everybody wants happiness, nobody wants suffering, and all beings have been kind to us. So it's only suitable for us to work for their benefit. And the best way for us to do that is to generate the bodhicitta like the Buddha did. So let's have that aspiration to attain full awakening for the benefit of each being. And let that be our motivation for sharing in the Dharma this evening. So what I thought to talk to you about this evening, I followed the Tibetan tradition of Buddhism, which is one of the Mahayana traditions. And my teachers have emphasized the generation of bodhicitta quite a lot for the obvious reasons. Bodhicitta being the aspiration to attain full awakening not for just our own benefit. In fact, not for our own benefit at all. Our own benefit is a side effect. We attain, we practice, we generate bodhicitta, with a heart of compassion that wants to benefit all beings and knows that attaining the qualities of a fully enlightened Buddha is the best way to have that be of benefit. So in the Tibetan tradition, they have two ways of generating bodhicitta. And so I want to go through one of them very briefly, and then another one to dwell on one of the points that I really like. So the first way of generating bodhicitta is called the 7-point instruction of cause and effect. And in it, we talk of 7 points. Before we count the 7 points, there's a motivation to do of equanimity, where we even off our feelings for friends and friends and enemies. Yeah, because most of us right now, friends we like, we're attached to, we will benefit them. People who threaten us, who interfere with our happiness, who, steal our things, we don't like them at all. Right? Hello? Yeah. Yeah, that's the way it is, isn't it? Yeah. We have opinions about everybody. And we put people into the friend category, the enemy category, and the middle category. And we think that the friends, they are wonderful people, because we would never be friends with somebody who isn't wonderful. And the people we don't like or get along with are the enemy category. And everybody else goes in the stranger category. So attachment to our friends, anger, aversion to the enemies, and apathy towards everybody else. Yeah, correct? Is this how you divide people? Mm-hmm. Yeah, and yet we say, may all sentient beings have happiness and its causes. And we think all sentient beings refers to the people we like. Yeah, and the enemies, we say, may you get hit by a truck. Or may you go to hell. We're very generous. And the neutral people, the strangers, we kind of treat like objects that we have to walk around as we go through our day. Yeah, because, they make the bus crowded, they make the sidewalk crowded, and so our whole way of relating to them is just, get through them. Now, who cares what happens to them? Okay, so this is not actually equality, is it? Yeah. We're very, very biased. And what's really strange about our bias is that it changes. Yeah. So when we were born, everybody started out as a stranger, right? Yeah. Then the people who fed you, the people who woke up in the middle of the night when you cried because you were hungry, the people who turned you over when you couldn't roll yourself over as a baby, then these people we started calling friends. Yeah. Then, and everybody else was a stranger. As time went on, we started relating with more people. So the people who helped us, they remained friends. And some new people came. Yeah. So the characteristic of a friend is, first of all, somebody who likes me. Yeah. Somebody who praises me, somebody who thinks I'm wonderful. The more wonderful they think I am, the better friends we are. Someone who gives me presents. Yeah. Someone who praises me to other people that I don't know so that I have a good reputation. Yeah. Okay. Then, so some of our teachers went into the friend category as we went into the school system. Yeah, so the teachers we got along with, who gave us good grades, they went in the friend category. Then the teachers who, weren't, maybe sometimes we didn't behave so well. Yeah. But whenever we did, it's up to other people to just be gentle and kind with us and not criticize us. But sometimes they did. Yeah. And our teachers disciplined us, and our parents disciplined us. And so, depending on how often they disciplined us, they sometimes temporarily went in the enemy category, or sometimes a long time in the enemy category. Yeah, the kids who we fought with on the playground, the kids who bullied us, yeah, who threw sand at us when we were playing in the sandbox, they all went in the enemy category. Okay. Everybody else, stranger. Right? Yeah. This side of the room says yes. This side of the room, I don't know. Are you guys awake back there? So, then as time went on, it's interesting. Some more strangers became friends. Some more strangers became enemies. And some of our friends became strangers. We lost touch with them as we grew up. And some of our friends became enemies. Meanwhile, some of our enemies became strangers. We lost touch with them. And some of our enemies, we met them in a totally different situation, and they became friends. Right?
Right.
Good. Yeah. So, when we have somebody as a friend, we think that they're really good from their own side. Yeah. And an enemy is a really disgusting, horrible person from their own side. Yeah. Now, if that were true, the way we see people, then everybody would like our friends and everybody would not like our enemies. Is that what happens?
No.
No, not at all. Okay. So this is showing that how we categorize people into friend, enemy, stranger is completely based on our own opinion of them. Yeah. So their goodness is not coming from their side, and their badness is not coming from their side. Okay? Because if we say that somebody who is generous, is a good person, then of course, when they're generous to me, they are a marvelous person. Yeah. When that person is generous to somebody I don't like, then what do I think about them? You like that guy? You give that person a gift? Ugh. So I don't like you anymore. Mm-hmm. When somebody is mean to our enemy, we think they're a great person. Yeah. And when somebody, that same person, is mean to us, then we think they're a horrible person. Yeah, completely subjective, isn't it? And what's the criteria for dividing people into friends, enemies, and strangers? What's the criteria? What are you hearing me talk about? What word keeps on coming up in this discussion? Me. Me. You are nice to me. You are good. You are, mean to the people I don't like. You're good. So everything is done in terms of how people relate to me. Yeah. Why do we use ourself as the person to judge like this? Yeah. Well, we have this view inside of ourselves, yeah, that we just happen to be the center of the universe. Yeah. So everybody who's nice to me is good. Yeah. And everybody who is not is bad. Yeah. So our opinions are constantly changing based on the criteria of how someone relates to me. Yeah. Because I am the center of the universe and everything should be the way I want it. I have the prerogative to judge everybody. Yeah. What do you think? Yeah. So there's the one problem with this is that you see, I'm the center of the universe, and you people think you are. Each one of you thinks you're the center of the universe. And the problem, is that you don't all agree with me. Because if everybody agreed with me and everybody took my advice, the world would be wonderful. Yeah. And the problem with the world is that nobody listens to my advice. Ho hum. Yeah. So, this presents some difficulties, doesn't it? Yeah. Because I have my rules of the universe that everybody in the universe should follow. Okay. So I just went through a couple of them. First one, my opinions are always correct. Yeah. Second one, everybody should listen to my advice. That's a rule of the universe. Mm-hmm. And I have advice for everybody. Yeah, you name it, I can give them some advice. Yeah, if you ever need an opinion, just ask me. My opinion factory works 25/8. I can give you all the opinions you want to. Mhm. Okay, so another rule of my universe, just check up if these are rules of your universe too, and then you'll know how you should forget your rules and go with my rules. Okay, so another rule of the universe, everybody has to like me. Hmm? Yeah, so you all better like me because this is a rule of the universe. Okay, nobody is allowed to dislike me. Nobody is allowed to criticize me because I don't have faults. I don't make mistakes. Yeah. How about you in your universe? Yeah. Yeah. You agree with my criteria. Oh, great. So you think that, everything I think is right. Yeah. and you should follow my opinions. Oh, good, the world is improving. So I have opinions, like I said, for everybody. Anybody here, just ask me. Yeah, I especially have opinions for the government. Yeah. As you might tell by my English, I have an American passport. That's what makes me American. There's no other criteria that makes me American except that's the passport I have. Yeah, it's the only criteria that makes you whatever nationality you have is the passport you have. There's nothing inside of our body or our mind that makes us that nationality. Yeah. So, yeah. So I call myself an American. I have that passport. So I have a lot of advice for our government. Yeah. And I bet that even though you're not American, you have advice for it too. Yeah. Because our governments, well, you know how governments are. So, this thing of thinking we're the center of the universe actually causes some problems in our life, don't you think? Yeah, sometimes. Yeah, when people don't agree with us, it causes problems in our life. When people do agree with us, no, it doesn't cause problems. Yeah, it's wonderful. I mean, that's how you fall in love, isn't it? Oh, somebody rode up on their white horse and he tells me I'm beautiful and he gives me presents and everything is wonderful. Everything I say, he just goes along with. Yeah. Until mhm, he expects me to pick up his dirty socks. No way am I going to do that. Yeah. So, right? Yeah, you agree with me? Yeah. He might be wonderful in all other regards, but to pick up the dirty socks, no way. Yeah, that does not fall into my rules of the universe. Yeah. So that can cause some problems in the relationship, can't it? Yeah. Because I didn't actually tell him all my rules of the universe. I just expected him to know and to act accordingly. And the problem with him is he had his expectations of me that he never asked me about. And he just expected me to fulfill all his expectations. And I said, no way. Great way. Yeah. So problems ensued, right? Yeah. So the point here is there's a few points. Yeah. One is that thinking of friends, enemies, and strangers is not a very good way to categorize people because that relationship changes all the time. Who we consider friend, who we consider enemy, who we consider stranger. And yeah, the way that our criteria for dividing people like that is totally self-centered. Yeah. And there just happens to be over 8 billion human beings on this planet. Yeah. And we believe in democracy, right? Hello? Yeah? You believe in democracy? No? Oh. Okay, I better stop here. Okay. Yeah. So if we vote between 8 billion minus 1 and 1, who's going to be the most important? 8 billion and minus 1 or 1? Who won the vote? Hello? Yeah. The 8 billion minus 1 won the vote of who is more important. Yeah. The 1 just happens to be me. Yeah. But it's strange, isn't it, how we think that we are more, that our happiness is more important than anyone else's, and our suffering hurts more than anyone else's. Is that reasonable? Is that true? No, not at all. Yeah. So evening out these relationships is really important, because without doing that, how are we going to generate bodhicitta that wants to be of great benefit to each and every sentient being? We can't. Yeah. If we leave even one sentient being out of the scope of our compassion, we don't generate bodhicitta. If we don't generate bodhicitta, there's no way to attain Buddhahood. Yeah. So when we, stick to our rules of the universe and really discriminate people in this way, yeah, we're actually harming and interfering with our own spiritual progress. Okay? Because all of you who come here regularly, you all say, I want to be a Buddha, right? Yeah, that's what you want. But, yeah, we're the ones who interfere with our Buddhahood. Okay? It's not other people's problem, it's our own. Okay, so the meditation on equanimity is a precursor to both of the two ways that we generate bodhicitta in the Tibetan tradition. Okay, to start with the 7 points of cause and effect. Yeah, the next point is seeing all sentient beings as having been our mother. So this entails an understanding of rebirth, an acceptance of rebirth, and seeing that, we've been born everything and had all sorts of relationships with each and every sentient being. So at one time or another, they've all been our mother or been our father. Yeah. Our parents are very dear relationships to us. Yeah. Because without them, we wouldn't be here. Yeah. Without them, we wouldn't have a precious human life and the opportunity to practice the Dharma. Okay. So all beings have been our parents. Second, as our parents, they've been kind to us. Okay. Now I know that people have problems with their parents. Okay. And I know myself, I had problems with my parents. But when you really think about it, and this is the meditation that personally helped me really have so much improve my relationship with my parents, is really thinking of what they had to do to bring me up. Yeah. instead of thinking how they didn't give me every single thing I wanted, yeah, what they did do to bring me up, fed me in the middle of the night, yeah, go to work 5 days a week, work long hours to get the money so that I have food and clothing and so forth, And here I'm talking about parents, but it could be whoever took care of you when you were little. It could be a grandparent, it could be a babysitter, whoever it was who brought you up. They made sure I went to school. They made sure I got an education. And they had to discipline me when I was acting like a brat, even though I stomped my feet and I said, "It's unfair." Yeah. But as an adult, looking back on it, it's good they did, because otherwise I would have been even worse than I am now, And just thinking of, what they had to do to bring me up. Get up in the middle of the night, take me to the doctor when I was sick, make sure I did my homework. All these kinds of things that I don't know about you, but I really took for granted as a child. Yeah. And whatever they gave me, I said, I want more and I want better. I want what the kids across the street have. Okay. So really seeing the kindness of the people who brought us up is, it changes our perspective in a very good way, especially if we're holding on to some tension in our relationship with our parents. Okay, so that's the second one, seeing the kindness. Then the third, of the 7 points is wanting to repay their kindness. So since every being has been our parents, they've all been kind to us, automatically we want to repay that kindness. When we receive kindness, we want to give kindness, don't we? Yeah. So that's the third one. The fourth one is what is called heartwarming love. So this is a special kind of love that sees sentient beings as adorable, as wonderful, as it's a kind of love where we really have affection for others based on the fact that they've been kind to us as our parents, not once, but many, many, many times. Okay. So that's the fourth one. The fifth one is compassion. So compassion is the wish for sentient beings to be free of all suffering, all dukkha, all disadvantages of samsara, and their causes, the afflictions. Love is the wish for all sentient beings to have happiness, especially the happiness of liberation and awakening, and its causes. So that's 5. Then 6 is, it's called the Great Resolve, because it's one thing to have love and compassion and wish other beings well, wish them to be free of pain and misery, and sit on the sidelines and want other people to make it happen. Like somebody is drowning in the pool and we go, "Oh, it's terrible, they're drowning, we need to save them." You jump in and save them. I'm going to sit here. I don't want to get my hair wet. Okay, so this 6th one is taking some responsibility, making the resolve to actually act upon our compassion and our love that is equal for all sentient beings. And then from there, with those 6 as causes, then the 7th one, the effect, is generate bodhicitta. Okay? The aspiration to attain full awakening for the benefit of all sentient beings. Yeah? And that motivation is so extraordinary. Yeah. We may generate it every day in our practice, but I don't know about you, my generation of bodhicitta, it's what we call contrived or artificial. Yeah. I feel, I think about bodhicitta as long as I feel well and comfortable. Okay. If I'm sick and it's either I get the medicine or somebody else does, I get it. I should get it. Yeah. So there's still this thing of I'm first. Mhm. Yeah. Me and my rules of the universe are first. So we have to do something with that. But those 7 points are one way to cultivate bodhicitta. Yeah. And with the compassion that becomes so strong, we're able to overcome that self-centeredness that cherishes self more than others. But there's another way to generate bodhicitta that addresses that issue more directly. And this method is called equalizing and exchanging self and others. And it was taught by Shantideva, an 8th century Indian Buddhist sage, who wrote this spectacular book called Engaging in the Bodhisattva's Deeds. Yeah, are you familiar with that? Yeah, it's translated in English and it's also translated in Chinese. Is it in German too? Good. It's a fantastic book. Yeah. So if you can get it and then request a teacher to teach it to you, because when a teacher can unpack it, it becomes really rich. Okay. So Shantideva's method is called equalizing and exchanging self with others. Okay. So it too is based on equanimity. Yeah. But it begins with a step beyond equanimity. Yeah. And that step is called equalizing self and others. Because you saw with equanimity, the stranger was the emphasis was on equalizing the friend and the enemy and how much we care about those. Here, we want to include the stranger and we want to include ourselves. In other words, really in our hearts, generating the understanding that we are all equal in wanting happiness and not wanting suffering. And therefore, it's only right that we help everybody all together. And not just single out ourselves or the people who are our friends and relatives that we care about, but really opening our hearts to everybody. Yeah, so this is more of a challenge than equanimity, because we're including ourselves in it. Okay, so there's one way of meditating on the equalizing self and others, and it has 9 points. Okay. The first 6 points are according to conventional truth, and the last 3 points are according to ultimate truth. Okay. So conventional truth. Yeah, the first of those 6 points is everybody wants happiness, nobody wants suffering. Yeah, we are all equal in that wish. And this is something that when you really meditate on it and make it in your heart, then you know something important about each and every living being. Yeah. And you could look at each and every living being and think, what's the strongest thing in their heart? They want happiness and they don't want suffering. And they're exactly like me in that regard. Yeah, that's a pretty big change, isn't it? Yeah. So it's stopping to just prioritize ourselves. We are all equal. So this enables us to have respect for each and every living being. I do work with people who are incarcerated, yeah, in the U.S. prison system. I don't know how it is here, but in my country, what most people think is they're criminals, lock them up, and throw away the key, and forget about them. But according to equalizing self and others, they're trying to be happy and not suffer, just like me. Yeah. Can I really lock them up and throw away the key and say, I don't care what happened to them because of one thing they did in their life that landed them in a prison? I'm not saying we should release everybody, but I think it's good to change our attitude. Yeah. For example, take a moment and what is the worst thing you did in your life that you don't want anybody to know about? Hmm? Now imagine that that was your identity in the world, was the worst thing you did in your life. Oh, there's that person who did whatever it was you did. And that's how everybody thought of you. Because that's how societies think of people who are incarcerated. Yeah. We wouldn't want everybody to judge us based on the worst thing we did in our lives, would we? Yeah, because we've done a lot of other things beside that one action. A lot of other things. So just as we would want people to have compassion for us, despite our having done one horrible thing, shouldn't we extend that compassion to others and not judge them, not think their whole value as a human being is one action that they did? Yeah, wouldn't that make sense? Okay. So just think about that, how rigid our opinions are about other people and how we often don't give people credit for the kindness they have and the kind things they do. Hmm? Okay, so that's the first point. Everybody wants happiness, me and others equally. Yeah. Second point, if I were to judge people, who is more worthy of happiness, or put it this way, if there are 10 people who are ill in the hospital, who should get the medicine? Yeah, the people I like or everybody? Yeah, would it be fair to just say only the people I like should get medicine, everybody else forget about? No. Okay. So why? Because they won't want to be free of their suffering equally. Okay. If, let's say, I was Elon Musk and I was giving away money, not the way he does it. He buys people's votes, which is totally illegal. But I won't get into that right now. Um, yeah, I have some advice for him too, Yeah. But let's say you had, and you could give out $1 million checks to people. Yeah. Would it be fair to give them only to the people you liked and not to everybody? Everybody wants happiness equally. Yeah. Shouldn't we give it to everybody? Okay. So those are the first three. So the next reason is all sentient beings have been kind to us in the past, in the present, and will be kind to us in the future. Okay. Yeah. So you might say, well, I don't know everybody, so how can they be kind to me? It doesn't matter whether somebody knows you and they have the motivation, I want to be kind to you in particular. The point is, especially with strangers, that we benefit from the work they do in society. Yeah. Anybody know the people who built this building? Yeah. Do you know the people who made the electricians who put the electricity in? Do you know the plumbers who put the water system in? Yeah. Do you know the people who laid the flooring? No. Yeah. When we look around, everything, almost everything we have, everything we use, and everything we know came from the kindness of other people. We were not born with whatever knowledge we have. It came because people taught us. Whatever skills we have, it's because people taught us and they encouraged us. Yeah. Why aren't our streets piled high with garbage? Because there's garbage collectors who take it away. Yeah. Do you ever thank your garbage collector? You should. We're indebted to them. How about the people who work on the roads? Do you ever thank the people who work on the roads? Yeah, in the heat of the summer, it's hard work. Do we thank them? How about the people who work for the public utilities, who fix our electric lines after a windstorm or a snowstorm? Do we thank them? Okay, what I'm getting at is, we have received benefit from everybody. So at least in our attitude to have a kind feeling towards them, because we're all equal, wanting happiness and not wanting suffering. And we've been the beneficiary of tremendous kindness in our lives. Yeah. But what's so strange about our self-centered attitude is we don't focus on the kindness we've received from friends, from strangers, and we've received kindness from enemies too. Yeah. We don't focus on that. We focus on how they didn't give us what we wanted. and they interfered with our happiness. Yeah. So our whole way of looking is really skewed when you think about it. Now, somebody's going to raise their hand and say, but all these sentient beings have also harmed me, and take out your whole long list of all the harms you have received in your life. You know, yeah, do you remember the dogs who bit you? Yeah, that you hate those dogs. Yeah, forever and ever. When I was little, I belonged to a group, and we had to go around and ring people's doorbells and try and sell them cookies. So one doorbell I rang, there was this little chihuahua. You know, the little chihuahuas, they're very nervous dogs. Well, the lady opened the doorbell, the chihuahua ran out, and just bit me a little bit. Oh, not only was that chihuahua horrible, I hated all chihuahuas. Yeah. Meanwhile, at home, our pet was a German Shepherd, a big dog. I wasn't afraid of German Shepherds at all. Yeah. Okay. So, we could sit there, and I'm sure we all have lists of everybody who harmed us in one way or another. Yeah. When I did one of my first longer retreats, I discovered horror of horrors that I was mad at my primary two teacher because she didn't let me be in the class play. Decades later, I still hold a grudge against her. I can even tell you her name. Yeah. I remember her name. I don't remember the name of all my teachers, but her, yes. Yeah. So, but she also taught me reading and writing and lots of other things that I'm indebted to her for. Yeah. So instead of thinking, but all sentient beings have also harmed me, they've helped me. Yeah, they've also helped me. Yeah, probably more than they've harmed me. Even this second grade teacher. Yeah, because it was one class play she didn't let me be in. Yeah, and I'm a great actress, don't you think? So, yeah, but she really taught me. Yeah, come on. Okay, so yeah, so sentient beings may have harmed us, but they've helped us more. So that's no reason to leave them out of the field of our compassion. And then the last reason is that since we're all going to die anyway, what is the use of holding grudges against people who have harmed me? Yeah. Shantideva in his book, there's some verses where he talks about, how people they want to kill their enemy. And he says, that person's going to die anyway. Why do you have to kill him first? Yeah. And then he turns around and he says, your own self-centered thought is the real enemy that you need to kill. And it isn't going to just die and go away by itself. Yeah, that one you have to do something about. Okay. Then some more reasons why we and all others are equal. Yeah, and we should care for everybody. Well, first of all, if there were real friends, enemies, and strangers, real good people, bad people, and people, the Buddha would see sentient beings like that. The Buddha would have friends, enemies, and strangers. Does the Buddha have friends, enemies, and strangers? No. But if people were real friends, enemies, and strangers from their own side, the Buddha would see them as such. They would be that way also to the Buddha. He doesn't see them that way. Buddha sees everybody with this kind of affectionate love and wants to do what is beneficial for them. Hmm? So are we going to tell the Buddha that he's wrong? Yeah, that he doesn't know what he's talking about, that this person who harmed me, Buddha shouldn't have compassion for. Yeah, you want to correct the Buddha? No, that's not so wise to do. Okay, so also, if friends, enemies, and strangers were always like that, or somebody's a real friend, a real enemy, a real stranger from their own side, then they could never change roles at all. The friends couldn't become enemies, the enemies couldn't become friends, strangers couldn't become either of them. Okay? So here, these 2 points, what we're getting at is people are not inherent friends, enemies, and strangers. They're not inherently good or bad. Because if they were, they couldn't change. How our perceptions of them wouldn't change. And then also, what about self and others? When we really look at it, why favor self? Because self and others are just things that are dependently designated. Okay, like this side of the street and that side of the street. When you're on this side of the street, that is that side of the street. When you cross the street, that side of the street is now this side of the street, and this side of the street is now that side of the street. Okay? So this and that are things that are dependent on each other. They're mutually dependent. You only discern one if you also discern the other one. Yeah. So it is too with what we call self and what we call other. Yeah. When we think I'm so important, what we call I is dependent on other. But the other also says I, and then I become other. So when we say I am more important, which I are we talking about? This one or that one? Because they are all I, they're all me. You get what I'm saying? Yeah, so when we say I am more important, who's more important?
Everyone.
Everyone? Really? You mean that when there's something I really want and it's the last thing, somebody else should get it? Oh, no. Never. Yeah. Okay. This moves us on to the next topic in equalizing and exchanging self and others. So the next topic is the disadvantages of self-centeredness and the benefits of cherishing others. Okay, so the disadvantages of self-centeredness, yeah. So when I say self-centeredness, what I'm talking about is, the one that I am more important and I know better and I should get what I want and everything like that. So what's the disadvantages of that? Well, in our society, we don't see disadvantages unless somebody is really, really selfish. But yeah, we're taught in our society that we should stick up for ourselves, because if we don't care about ourselves first, nobody else will care about us. Yeah, right? And science tells us that we are hardwired to be self-centered. Yeah, our amygdala back here, the brain stem, when we're threatened, yes, I'm supposed to stick up for myself, fight or flight. Yeah, because, the scientists say we are hardwired to look out for ourselves. And if we have to harm somebody else to preserve the self, that's totally reasonable from a biological view. What do you think about that? Yeah. Are we all hardwired to just care about ourselves first and foremost, never to care about others first and foremost? If that were true, then awakening wouldn't be possible. There's no way we could become Buddhas. Yeah, because Buddha cherishes others more than he cherishes himself. Buddha works for the benefit of others. He doesn't work for his own benefit. So what do you say? You think the scientists are right? That it's impossible to cherish others more than self? Mm-hmm. Yeah, think about it. Because if that were the case, then would be no possible way to stop wars. And this is actually because we believe that we are more important than others. This is why the war between Ukraine and Russia continues. The war in the Middle East between Gaza and Israel continues because everybody says, I'm more important. Yeah, that's the foundation of every war. Yeah. So if it's true that there's nothing we can do about that, then peace negotiations are of no use. Yeah, and even solving our quarrels on a personal level are of no use. Yeah, see, we can really see here the harm of the self-centered thought, because it is what, lies behind wars, personal conflicts, everything like that. Yeah, is we just say me. Yeah. When we think of the negative karma we've created in our life, you think of the things you've done that have created negativity. They've all been done under the influence of self-centered thought. When I'm attached to something, I am more important, I should get it. When I don't like something, I am more important, I am entitled to harm other people. Yeah. If I want something that they have, I'm entitled to take it. Just take it because I want it. Yeah. So when we look at, the negative karma we've created that we have to spend time purifying, it's all rooted in the self-centered thought. So does the self-centered thought benefit us or does it harm us? Yeah. When we really look closely, it harms us. And karmically, it's very interesting. When we harm others, they experience immediate harm, but we're creating the negative karma that leaves a seed of negative karma in our own mind. And we suffer the result of that seed of negative karma created by harming somebody else. So when we harm somebody else, we're actually harming ourselves. Yeah, karmically. It's not like, I'll beat them and then I'll stop them from bothering me and I'll live happily ever after. No, I beat them and I create the negative karma. They have immediate pain. I'm planting seeds in my own mind for a lower rebirth. Yeah. So that self-centered mind is not our friend. Also, yeah, we may retaliate against people who have harmed us, and then say, oh, I'm so glad. Yeah, I gave them a taste of their own medicine. Yeah, have you ever done that? Oh, you've done it. You've done it. But me, no. I'm a sweet person. I never retaliate and then rejoice that I hurt somebody else's feelings. I would never do that. Yeah, yeah, it's amazing. Every class I teach, none of those people have ever harmed anybody. Yeah, best people in the world. Okay, but yeah, there's always a but in there. Okay, how do I feel about myself when I'm alone? If I'm the kind of person who enjoys causing others pain, do you feel good about yourself? Yeah, I don't. Yeah. So Putin may say, oh, I just bombed Kiev. I killed more Ukrainians. We're going to win this war. Yay. Yeah. What kind of karma is he creating? Because even if he doesn't directly kill, if we rejoice at somebody else's killing someone else, we create the karma of killing. Okay? So he's creating the karma. I wonder, when he's alone, does he feel good about what he's done? Or is there something in the heart that says, what kind of person am I that I enjoy killing people? Yeah. So we can see here that taking revenge is not the cause of happiness, and rejoicing at our revenge or other people's revenge is the cause of suffering. Okay, so that's the faults of the self-centeredness. And meanwhile, there's incredible benefit from cherishing others. Yeah, when we cherish others, they're happy and we're happy. We feel good about ourselves. When you can do even one small thing that benefits somebody, don't you feel good about yourself? Yeah. We were walking in the park in what city were we in? We've been on the road 5 weeks. I can't remember where we are. What, Hamburg? Yeah, so we were walking in the park in Hamburg. And one man just comes up to us out of the blue and he says, he gets right to the point. He says, if life is suffering, what is the use of being alive? He said to us. We're total strangers. Yeah. But, when you wear this, so we stopped and talked to him for some time. And my first reaction when he said that was every life is worth living. Every life is worth living because we have the Buddha nature, we have the Buddha potential. We can always improve, we can always change. Yeah, so every life is worthwhile. And then as we talked to him more, we saw that he's working in IT. So he's on the computer looking at a screen all day. Yeah, Venerable Kunchok said to him, when you look at your own suffering, and what you've overcome yourself, that's probably helping people who are now having that suffering is, you're fully equipped to help them because you've been through the experience they're going through. And so he said, I'm an immigrant, and I know the difficulties of immigrants. And so, he said, hey, think about helping other immigrants, giving them counseling, working for their benefit. Yeah. So, our life is always worth living. If you don't like your job, change your job. I know that sounds heretical. People think that I must be out of my mind to say that because your job, your ability to work 16 hours a day is so precious to you that the idea of changing it is an anathema. Really? Yeah. So, we were saying to this man, because he's just looking at a screen doing IT all the time, do some volunteer work, do something where you're engaging with other people, give back. Yeah. Why not? What is more important, money or your own happiness? And money does not equal happiness. I don't know if you believe me or not. Yeah, but seriously, yeah. Do you know people who have a lot of money who are not very happy? Mm-hmm. Okay. So this is exchanging self and others. Yeah. When we say I, and my happiness is more important, then I now we've exchanged who we call I, and I is there. When we say you are less important, this one is you. Because I and you are just mere designations. Yeah. There's nothing about here that is me, and nothing about there that is you. It's just perspective. Yeah, like this side of the street, that side of the street. Okay, so then we start to really, Shantideva talks about exchanging self and others. And so really working for the benefit of others. Yeah, that doesn't mean hating yourself. Yeah, but it just means that our whole paradigm has shifted. And in that process, we have so much joy when we can give to others, because others are now called I. Yeah. So then what you've done is expanded your whole way of experiencing happiness from just one person to everybody. Yeah. So that's a good way to be happy, isn't it? When we really look out for the welfare of everybody in an equal way, because we respect each and every being and we want to repay the kindness that they've given us. And then the culmination, well, not the culmination, the next step is a meditation called Tonglen, which in Tibetan means taking and giving. And here, I won't go into the visualization right now because we're running out of time, but here we imagine taking on others' suffering and giving them our happiness. So let me refer you to two books where you can read about these two different ways of cultivating bodhicitta. Yeah, so one is His Holiness Dalai Lama's book called In Praise of Compassion. Okay, in praise of compassion.
In praise of great compassion.
In praise of great compassion. Thank you. Yeah. Okay, so that book. And then another book was written by Kenzer Jampa Tekchok, Tegchok, I think, yeah. And his book was Transforming Adversity into Joy and Courage. So both of these books talk about both the 7-point instruction on cause and effect and the system of equalizing and exchanging self with others. Because I've only been able to go through it quickly, but I hope that you will spend some time meditating on these and really thinking about it and let these teachings really affect your heart. Okay. So I've gone over time, and I've heard that Germans like you to be on time. But I'm a sloppy American who just goes on and on. So we better close.